I can't get over the throw that Jalen Hurts made down the sideline to Devontae Smith that reeled that in, getting both feet down as Jalen Hurts was rolling to his right to avoid the pressure, extend the play, made that throw to Devontae Smith, and then later in the game, extended the play again and hit Greg Ward for that incredible touchdown throw and that incredible touchdown catch, putting it in a spot where only your wide receiver could get that ball. Jalen Hurts definitely DGunn, as you were saying earlier, looked like he needed to shake off a little bit of rust, having 23 days in between games, and he looked like he certainly did that as the game went on. Welcome in. It's the holiday season. Eagles get the win. Welcome in to the live postgame show. Everyone on the JAKIB YouTube channel as well as 6abc.com. My name is Marc. That right there, you see him. He's never looked better. His name's DGunn. And then look at it. She's just amazing. As always, Devan, Caney, John McMullen will be joining the show a little bit later live from the link. But I am just giddy with excitement over that Eagles victory. They shook off a rough start, guys. And boy, did they finish strong.
Well, it was to be expected. They hadn't played in 15 days. Jalen Hurts hadn't played in 23 days. And you couple in the fact it's a division game, and especially when you play in a rugged division like the NFC East, it was a little bit more entertaining than it should be. But once the Eagles established the running game, it was academic from there, although Washington kept fighting back and making it a lot closer than a lot of people wanted it to be, especially Devan, who was basically on a pacemaker in the first half. But that's another story in itself.
We'll get there.
Marc, you should have heard the conversation we were having by way of texting back and forth in the first half. I'm like, Devan, calm down.
He was talking me off a ledge, literally.
I don't blame you. That was a really shaky start. I mean, the first you go into the game and it's like this team should have forfeited already. Shouldn't even be playing this game. The Eagles should already have the win in their back pocket and then focus on the Giants on Sunday. That didn't happen. And then by some weird, I don't know, divine intervention, Dallas Goedert gets a ball kicked off his heel into the hands of Landon Collins, who fortunately wasn't able to return that ball for a touchdown. Washington gets the ball. They end up scoring the touchdown anyway. But long story short, Eagles made a lot of mistakes early. The Goddard one was another one, a drop that turned into the interception, the Jalen Hurts fumble. But they bounced back from all that. A couple of bad penalties on the offensive line, one by Jordan Mailata, the other by Cepeda, who, by the way, wouldn't have even played if they played this game on Sunday or forfeited the game thanks to Landon Dickerson, testing positive for COVID or being put in COVID protocol. But they shook off that rough start, and they made things happen for them later on. So, Devan, it was well worth just, sticking with him and doing what DGunn and I always do, which is just have faith. Just have faith.
I never would have guessed that DGunn would be the person. I mean, and what an honor to have DGunn to be the one to talk me off a ledge. But the second that Dallas Goedert interception happened, that was like divine intervention. It was like, oh, it's just incomplete. Oh, wait, no, it's an interception. Washington's ball. It was like, was that not the most Philadelphia sports moment ever?
Well,
it was like, why can't we have nice things? This is supposed to be an easy win. I was predicting the Eagles were going to win by like double digits. And then here we are all of a sudden finding ourselves down 10-0 to the Washington football team. So I was not in a great place. I'm texting DGunn like, why are there not more boos? Why is the crowd not booing? He's like, oh, they're booing. They're booing. You can hear him. So DGunn, thank you so much.
Are you trying to tell me that I don't have it within me to be a calming factor? You were surprised that I have this nice demeanor about me occasionally? That I have this calming factor about me?
Nice is a strong word here. Yeah. It's more like, okay, lady, calm down.
I mean, in all honesty, Gunnar, I think Devan really started to get to know you during pumpkin spice latte season, and that's when you might be a little over-caffeinated, a little on edge, so she might think that you're a little negative during that time. And now that it's the holiday season, the Christmas season, my friend, hey, you need a little bit more laid back.
Look,
pumpkin spice is no more caffeinated than any other coffee out there. It's not like they put extra pumpkin juice in it or something. It's just a flavor, okay? There's no more. Don't try to use that. There's a nice side of DGunn who lives in Camelot, and there's the other side of DGunn who Well, we won't talk about that side of DGunn right now.
No. You know what? That side of DGunn, that scares me almost as much as the Eagles did in their first couple of possessions. It's called a segue, folks. All right. This live post-game show for the people watching on 6abc.com and the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Don't forget that we are exclusively presented by Ocean Casino Resort. Book your New Year's Eve weekend at Ocean Casino and go for the live shows. Go for the win. Let's talk about this for a second here. It was a rough start. We all acknowledge that. And we'll focus on that. And we'll talk about that as the show goes on, obviously. But what impressed me the most about this game tonight was how Jalen Hurts and this Eagles offense responded as the game went on. I cannot get over look, you talk about Dallas Goedert going up and catching that football, making a play for Jalen Hurts early in the game. He also had the drop earlier in the game as well. He had a couple of drops in this game. But all in all, I can't get over the throw that Jalen Hurts made down the sideline to Devontae Smith that reeled that in, getting both feet down as Jalen Hurts was rolling to his right to avoid the pressure, extend the play, made that throw to Devontae Smith, and then later in the game, extended the play again and hit Greg Ward for that incredible touchdown throw and that incredible touchdown catch, putting it in a spot where only your wide receiver could get that ball. Jalen Hurts definitely DGunn, as you were saying earlier, looked like he needed to shake off a little bit of rust, having 23 games in between, or 23 days in between games, and he looked like he certainly did that as the game went on.
But it only took a while, to get back in the saddle, which is understandable. I mean, you were talking about the throw he made to Devontae Smith. Nice throw, but what an incredible catch by Devontae Smith. When your momentum is moving that fast and you're still able to focus on the ball, a defender behind you, and drag both feet in bounds, that's incredible body control. And then the back shoulder throw he makes to Greg Ward. Greg Ward finally comes out of hibernation, and I've always wanted, you guys have heard me say this time and time again, I don't understand why they don't use Greg Ward more in the passing game. He's a sure-handed receiver. He's always making a big catch. He was referred to at one point as first down Greg, a year ago. Every time he caught a pass, it seemed like it was for a first down. I just didn't understand why, when you consider that much of the Eagles passing game had been a two-man passing game with Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, and the other guys weren't really living up to expectation. Why not give Greg Ward a chance? And finally, he gets that chance tonight, gets his first touchdown of the season. But I thought Jalen Hurts bounced back real nice once he got in the flow, made some nice throws, ran when he had to. I thought Nick Sirianni called a great game. And more importantly, let us put this Gardner Minshew mess to rest. I want to hear more about Gardner Minshew. Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Gardner Minshew, if you're watching, you're a must,
I don't hear about that mess anymore.
I'm not gonna lie. First quarter and a half of play, my finger was near that button. It was near that button. It was near that button. This is a playoff push we're talking about. It's a playoff push. And
Marc, so was I.
Jalen, there you go. See, Devan.
So was I. And I think, we talk about this. We're like, there's not a quarterback controversy. Jalen Hurts is the guy. By the end of the first quarter, I was like, the button was here, and I was really close.
We weren't hitting
that Minshew Mania button.
Right. We weren't hitting the button. We didn't hit the button. We weren't hitting it. We were just going, oh, there's the button, and we know where it is. And Jalen Hurts responded and played great and made you go, oh, I don't need that button. Put it away.
Both of you, ye of little faith. Let me go back to what I told Devan in the first set. Devan?
Yeah, what did you say?
Tell it. I'm going to let her tell. I'm going to let her tell. Quote it verbatim, because, normally she embellishes what I say. So I want you to quote it verbatim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Verbatim. All right. Let's see. Where does it start?
Oh, I got to look back and see if DGunn said anything
DGunn
nice.
After, I believe it was after that first, the Dallas Goedert, where the ball, it became an interception. He just sent me a laughing emoji and said, get ready.
I was talking about the booing. I said, get ready.
And I said, ugh. And he said, my side hurts from laughing. So, and I said, honestly, just burn the whole team down. And then he said, ha, 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 forever. It's only the first quarter.
Yes.
Man of peace here. Man of peace. And then let's get to the kicker here. Negadelphia. That was his term. Was basically him saying, relax, you're being too negative. So yes. But you're the one laughing at our pain.
What? Now I was laughing at you. You were ready to blow up the whole thing in the first quarter. I said, give it a chance.
I wanted to burn down the whole team in the first quarter. I was very upset. Very, very upset. But they turned it around. They did, including Dallas Goedert. I'm glad he bounced back from that and had a great game.
That's the last time I try to talk you off the Walt Whitman Bridge. I'm telling you right now. That's it. That's it. Last time. That's it.
Ouch.
Well, you know what? Let's stay on the good side of that bridge, I guess, for the people that just like to take a stroll. Well, it's more the Ben. It's more the Ben Franklin. Yeah, the people like to stroll across. The Minnesota Vikings 7-7, Philadelphia Eagles 7-7, New Orleans Saints, who the Eagles hold the tiebreak over, 7-7. There is a three-way tie, record-wise and record-wise only, with the Vikings and the Saints at both 7-7 right now with 3 games left in the season. Saints riding a high coming off that great win over the Buccaneers, 9-0 win on, what was that, Sunday night game? And then Minnesota still has the Bears to face again. And I don't know if you caught that game Monday night. The Bears are not good at football, but the Eagles, who do have the quick turnaround now to face the Giants on Sunday, are not going to be facing the Daniel Jones Giants that somehow magically beat the Eagles a couple of weeks ago. But they're going to be facing the Mike Glennon Giants, who are also not that good at football. So hopefully the Eagles help their own cause as this season goes on with the Giants, Washington again, and then they round things out against the Dallas Cowboys, who, let's all keep our fingers crossed. I know we don't want to do this, but we're not rooting for the Cowboys. We're rooting hard for the Eagles' playoff chances. So the Cowboys at the Week 18, as it's been said a million times already, hopefully that game doesn't mean anything to them. They rest their starters, and it's an easy win for the Eagles, we hope. But right now, the Eagles' playoff chances very much still alive with this victory. Like I said, two other teams other than the Eagles, both 7-7 records right now. So the Eagles just need to keep helping their cause, and they got just the schedule and just the opponents to do that.
The Eagles control their own destiny, and you look at the way the games are falling in line for them. Now you go from a guy who was just pulled off the street on Friday, hadn't played football in who knows how long, had only thrown a handful of passes in the National Football League, and he looked pretty calm back there for the first half. And now all of a sudden they're going to play Mike Glennon. Did you see him play against Dallas? I'd rather have Garrett Gilbert, than to play Mike Glennon. Mike Glennon is horrible, and the Giants are a team that's beat up also. But then you have that rematch down in Washington, and I expect this Washington team to be a lot healthier. And I expect that team to give them a problem. I don't care who's quarterbacking them, but I expect them to give the Eagles some problems down there because it's the revenge game. It's another division game, and that's going to set the stage for that Dallas game. And keep your fingers crossed that Dallas doesn't need that game, coming in here in the last game of the season, with the Eagles also needing that game. You talk about nail biting. We need to get Devan an oxygen tent. We need to get her a sleep mask, for the night before the game. If it comes down to both teams, if Dallas needs that game for playoff positioning and the Eagles need that game just to get in the playoffs, Marc, we're gonna have to do some intervention for Devan. I'm just telling you right now.
I'm gonna need at least 2 of the bottles behind Marc. 2 of those stateside badge
bottles. She 2? Wow. Not 1, 2.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. But that reminds me, I was gonna say, we know how the Eagles and Jalen Hurts have played under pressure, or what did we call it, Marc, when he's playing against quarterbacks who he respects, when he's playing against a quarterback like Tom Brady, where he doesn't perform well. But today was technically his first NFC East win. No, because they lost against the Giants. So, he's made this first hurdle. Maybe they'll come out a little bit stronger and he'll be more sure of himself and get the rust off when they face them again. And obviously, the rest of our games are against NFC East opponents. But maybe I won't need the oxygen mask, Derek. Maybe.
I hope not. I sure hope not.
Yeah.
But I thought Jalen Hurts played with a lot of poise. He shook off some of that early rust. He made really good decisions with the football. As I expected, he took care of the football. He had one bad game where he threw 3 picks in a game. But, for the most part, Jalen Hurts doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He might not make some of the throws that frustrate Eagles fans. We still question his ability to throw a deep ball. We don't consider him to be a strong arm quarterback, but in this particular system, Nick Sirianni's system, he can make the throws that has to be made. And, with these guys having the ability to turn and get yards up the field and get that yak yardage, it makes his numbers look that much more impressive. But I thought, considering the magnitude of the game, giving him a few extra days of rest, it didn't look like he had any ill effects whatsoever from that ankle. I thought Jalen Hurts played a great game tonight for the Eagles.
Oh, yeah, I think he absolutely did. And here's what I wanted to see for Jalen Hurts, because we've talked all year about just he's an easy guy to root for with that mentality, that mindset, the work ethic that he has. Easy guy to root for. I was hoping that those little spells that he was having in the early goings of this game were going to continue, not just for the fact that I wanted the Eagles to win this game, but I don't want there to be any type of, should my hand be near this button to hit the Minshew Mania button, Devan, as you put it earlier? I didn't want that to happen. I want to concentrate on just having a guy that's trying to be the franchise quarterback of this football team, and a guy that we followed all year long, and a guy that has always said he's above all the conversation about somebody else that could be the starting quarterback of the Eagles. So that's why I find him to be an easy guy to root for. He pushed all that aside after the first quarter and a half of football. I mean, think about this for a second. The first series of the game where he gets the ball, one of his best target, probably his best target, tight end Dallas Goedert, has the ball hit him in the hands. He tries to run before he catches it. Classic mistake, and it winds up being an interception. He came back. He ended up fumbling. He got an earful from Nick Sirianni on the sideline, if you caught that as he walked off the field, and he responded to that. I wanted Jalen Hurts, not just the Eagles to win, but I wanted Jalen Hurts to have a get-right game, if you will. I wanted him to take away any fuel to the fire of Minshew Mania or any question about who was the starting quarterback of this team. It didn't start out that way, but like I said earlier, it certainly ended that way, and that was the word that I think you hit the nail on the head, Gunner: poise. That's ultimately what you want from a quarterback, and that's what he showed in this game.
When you can run the football 41 times for 238 yards compared to throwing the football 28 times, that takes a lot of pressure off a quarterback as well. And the way they ran the football, once they got rolling in the second quarter and for the rest of this game, that helps the quarterback relax that much more. It takes the onus off him of having to do spectacular things to keep the chains moving, to keep his offense on the field and not turn the ball over to that opposition. And, he was 20 of 28. That's a pretty doggone good night for any quarterback in the National Football League. And the fact that this team chewed up 238 yards worth of real estate against the fourth, fifth ranked run defense in the league. And when you look at what they've done, they've now faced the number 1, the number 5, and the number 6 run defenses in the National Football League, and they have chewed them up. And the big reason why the Eagles are sitting where they are right now is because Nick Sirianni finally identified the run game can carry you a long way in this pass-happy league that we like to watch. The run game still has its value in the National Football League. And when you have a quarterback who is as under the microscope as Jalen Hurts is week in and week out, and he knows, he may not admit it openly, but he knows each game is an audition for him to help this organization to make some decisions about what he is or isn't to this organization and what they may have to do or may not need to do beyond the season. That's a lot of pressure for a young man, 23 years of age, to carry on his shoulders. But again, the word poise comes into mind because everything he's done up to this point has been about poise. We have never seen him rattle, whether it's on the sideline, whether it's in front of a camera, in front of the media. Everything he does when he conducts his business is with poise. And he handles himself very well, and it shows when he gets between the lines.
Certainly did tonight.
I absolutely agree, DGunn. We talk about his mental strength, his mentality, his poise, but also, and I'm not taking away from Jalen Hurts or anyone on offense's performance tonight, but I have to say our offensive line tonight, even with 2 guys out, Driscoll and Dickerson, of course, with COVID, they played incredibly. Jason Kelce, he was injured. And he came out and played like a beast. Same with Lane Johnson. And I think that, of course, an O-line is an O-line. They're never going to get like the glory of a quarterback or receiver, but they played so well tonight. And I think our offense owes a lot of their success to them as well. So,
And 2 of the mistakes that happened early were on the offensive line. Again, Mailata, sorry. Those 2 bad penalties that called back a first down and also called back, I believe it was a 19-yard or 9-yard gain by Dallas Goedert, but they bounced back in this game. And Kelsey's blocking downfield, especially on that big Miles Sanders run where I think he could have cut it on the inside, or should we cut it to the outside instead of cut it to the inside? Outside, I think he still had a chance of getting the touchdown. Inside, he definitely didn't, and we saw how that play resulted. They ended up getting the touchdown anyway, but even even Jason Kelce, who was booking it down the field, and I described him on Twitter during the game as basically a walking lower body injury at this point in the season. 34 years old, 11 season in the league. He's still motoring down the field like that, and he was able to get down the field, able to make the block. Miles Sanders didn't run behind him, instead cut it to the inside. Jason Kelce even threw his arms up like, no, you got to follow me, man. Maybe Miles thought that the better play was to the inside. Obviously, he did, so that's why he cut it that way. But no, that offensive line played phenomenal football, especially in the second half of this game, where they just allowed Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts' first down, where they were pushing him through the pile and all that. It was just an amazing effort by everybody on that offensive line. Who, by the way, all the problems they've had offensive line health-wise this year, they haven't missed a beat. They have not missed a beat all year.
Well, they struggled somewhat earlier in the season. The Detroit game was really the turning point for this offensive line in terms of finding continuity no matter who was in there. Jason Kelce sets the tone for the offensive line. And you look at what they had in there tonight. To his right, he had Nate Herbig, and to his left, he had Sua Opeta. Those are not guys that normally play their positions. And Herbig, he has struggled for a lot of this year. But, again, you can't say enough about what Jeff Stoutland does with these guys week in and week out to get them ready for a football game. And because you have Kelce as a stabilizing force in that offensive line, it just makes everything else just click along that O-line. Jason Kelce, I'm going to hate to see him go whenever he decides to hang it up. But, and it shows how much he's respected because he got more votes than any other center for the Pro Bowl this year. So that tells you how much people respect him. His intelligence, his football IQ, his physicality, and his ability to be still very effective playing at the age of 34, his 11th season, and playing nicked up as well, especially at this stage of the season.
But real quick on that, with the Lions game, something else also I think times up pretty well with that. They started running the football.
Yeah,
they started giving the offensive line a chance to just be a thud and done offensive line and not having to hold that. So a lot of that goes back to really the play calling from Nick Sirianni and saying, all right, maybe I shouldn't have Jalen Hurts try to do everything in this offense. Let me try to actually run the football and use Miles Sanders. Call up Jordan Howard, even though that was due to an injury more so than anything. Kenny Gainwell run the football. Boston Scott came in much later and was running the football well. They allowed that offensive line to really come together through running the football. How novel. If only they would have done that at the start of the year, where would we be right now? I'll tell you what, that Giants loss wouldn't feel so bad. We wouldn't be in the spot right now looking at this team the way we're looking at it today, saying, oh, maybe they can help their own cause by winning the last 3 games, now 4 games, now 3 games of the season. Maybe they can help their own cause that way. And we're just sitting here crossing our fingers for it.
The great thing about, I'm sorry, Devin, go ahead.
No. It's all you, DGunn. You go.
You ray of sunshine, DGunn.
Yeah, right. Yeah. She's never going to live that one down. But anyway, it's just great to have meaningful football to talk about in December. When you think about the number of teams out there that you could be covering, the Jets, the Jaguars, teams like that, the Texans, we're talking about meaningful football. And I go back to late September, early October, and we were just waiting for the season to be over. We thought this team was by far was going to have more losses than wins. Well, right now with 3 games, left to play, they're sitting at sea level. They're right on the outside looking in at the playoff picture right now, and they control their own destiny. So football talk in this region, if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, football talk in this region is still hyped because this team in a lot of ways has exceeded expectations. When you look at the injuries, now obviously Washington was a much more, team decimated by injuries and COVID than the Eagles were, down 2 quarterbacks, you're down one of your primary receivers, and you're down one of your top cornerbacks. So, you come into a game like this, I always say, you can't go into a gunfight with a cap gun. And that's what Washington did. They went into a gunfight with a cap gun. And, they basically fired as much as they could. They kept it entertaining. But, when push came to shove, the better team won the game tonight.
I think it's very rare that we can say that we outcoached the other team. I honestly don't know if I've been able to confidently say that, at least about Nick Sirianni, since the Falcons game, which was our first game of the season. We definitely outcoached them, especially on offense. I'm still a little bit unsure about how I feel about how Gannon approached our defense. The fact that we didn't get a sack on Gilbert until the end of the second quarter, and that was Fletcher Cox. I don't know. I think I would have liked to see a little bit more pressure there. Not to get negative with it. So
here she goes again, Gunner.
But I do think that we did outcoach them. I'm sorry. I had to put that out there.
Now, I will say they did blitz late in the game. I think it was on a 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 10 late in the game. Alex Singleton was blitzing, as was Avonte Maddox. I think it was coming in from the secondary, and they beat the blitz. Gilbert beat the blitz. What are you going to do? Things happen, I guess. But no, Fletcher Cox had a great game. I know we'll talk a lot about that defensive line as well as the show goes on. When we come back, there were 2 plays that really stuck out to me. Gunnar, I know you talked about the offensive play calling. Devan, you just talked about out coaching a Ron Rivera Washington football team. Well, there were a couple of plays that Nick Sirianni drew up there that we really hadn't seen before. We'll talk about them coming up in just a second. But don't forget, good people of Philadelphia watching this program, Eagles fans galore. You can add stateside vodka soda to your upcoming celebrations this holiday season. See the scroll below and use the code JAKIB for 15% off the very popular stateside vodka soda. Go to statesidevodka.com. More live post-game show when we return.